Hey man, you are live.
We're
man.
live.
Live.
We're live. It's okay. Keep
What you
doing.
doing in there, man? You talking and what you
Ask
doing?
questions. Chime in.
Hell,
Q, thank you.
talking.
Wait, I gotta hype you. I gotta hype him. No one can know. No one can know Rob Bailey's here. We gotta keep it low. But I appreciate everyone. I want to thank everyone. I want to thank everyone in K-var Studios. I want to thank Marcy, Q, everybody here. This has been a badass week. We've had all kinds of people on. I want to give a special thanks to BYLT, to Built, and I want to give a special thanks to Flag Nor Fail and everybody making this possible. We have the one and only. We're going to get into some crazy shit involving veganism. I'm going to add the ism to it with the one and only Rob Bailey. Here he is.
What's up, man?
So, bro, listen, we've been trying to do this forever.
We have.
It's been a long time coming. I want to get into it right away with you.
Let's do it, man.
I want to start though. Okay, so everybody knows you, knew you in the beginning as Dana's husband.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And you kind of came out of that as being the guy, though. I mean, you're like an entrepreneur. You're doing everything. You're everywhere, and you've built this whole thing. I mean, and it's a thing. You know, this whole, like, you're singing. You got the music. You got, you know, the vegan thing now. Now you have the supplement line, because the vegan thing's a thing.
The vegan thing's a big thing.
So take me back to even back when Dana was competing and kind of how Flag Nor Fail and everything. Because I was a customer. I bought this shit.
My man.
Yeah, I bought it. So take me back to the beginning and how this all began. Give the folks some insight into your entrepreneurialism and kind of how that all came to be.
Okay, so I guess growing up, I wanted to do everything. And you know as well as I know, unless you do it yourself, like, it's hard to do everything. So Dana and I started like the normal life. She was a little bored. She started competing and
Bored.
Well, she finished college soccer and then was just bored. So she started competing and did horrible because she obviously doesn't have the normal look of a female competitor. You know, she has this other look that the industry wasn't ready for. So I think with that, I had an opportunity to express myself creatively and sort of be her marketing team for her. So, you know, I started doing video, photography, and looking at the fitness industry and realizing that it was horrible. There was a lot of like stand there and aim the camera at somebody and do a voiceover. So I was like, maybe I'll do some edits and make it a little more exciting. It caught on. All the time I was working at QVC, the shopping channel that I guess your mom would watch and order stuff online. So I got to see the entire creative process between the buying team, the marketing team, the television team, the mobile team, and everything, and how a product comes in, full branding package goes around it, and then it goes out and how it sells. And I started to realize that, like, okay, I can do that, and I just started doing it. So I think for the first, whatever it was, 5 years behind the scenes, I just did everything for Dana behind the scenes. You know, I vetted everyone that was trying to, do photo shoots. I sort of helped her make all the decisions and left her up to just be herself. And then at some point in time, that worked to the point where I sort of stepped out of the shadows and became still her husband, but also, I guess, people, I don't know, started to care about me a little bit. Not too much.
A guy your size casts a shadow. It doesn't stay.
I'm not that big anymore, man. I'm trying to get little here.
So it's funny. I had Cutler in here, and he was saying the same thing. He's like, I want to get down to 220. I was like, 220? Like, thinking of him in 220.
Dude, Cutler, he looks amazing.
He's so funny. We were in here talking about aliens in Area 51. We'll talk about that later.
All right.
That's crazy. But no, I want to stay on that theme because a lot of people look up to you, and myself included, because I'll admit, like everybody else, in the beginning, I was a hater.
You hated me?
I was a hater. So
holy shit.
So from a distance, I watched, and I was like, fuck this dude, which I'm sure you dealt with a lot. And
I would like to say I would hate, if I didn't know me, I would hate me.
I'm the same way. So no, I wasn't like a full blown. I was just like, what's going on here? But bro, like when you pick through the layers and you spend time with you, rapping a little bit and chatting as we have through the years, you realize kind of the drive and the things that you've done, and it is a hustle mentality. And you really embody that in everything that you put your heart and soul into, every brand, everything that you guys have touched. And I'm not, and sorry, Dana, I'm not excluding you, but this is about Rob. So everything that you've touched and you've done, you've done it 110%, and that's commendable. Anybody who doesn't see that is a fucking idiot in plain English. But you've done a great job putting in the work, putting in the time to every brand that you've been a part of. And I've learned a lot from watching guys like you, guys like Jay, the way you're carefully selecting things. Like Jay doesn't jump into anything.
No.
You know, and you're the same way. You don't jump into anything. You don't jump in a pool without thinking about it. I know that about you because I've seen it.
Yeah.
I seen it. So Q loves that. So I understand the process now that you how you are and how you let people in your circle. And it's amazing to see it play out. Where does the music come in, and how did that kind of take shape? Because I listened to a whole album, believe it or not.
Thanks, man. So the music, so we were doing Dana YouTube channels, right? And we were just using random music behind the scenes, and they started to sort of crack down on it. They started to crack down on, yeah. And then I heard, oh, you can make money on YouTube. So I was like, well, I need to come up with a way to make music. So I hit him up before, and I was like, hey, man, let's make some songs just so I can use them in the background. So I made an animal video. Remember the animal cage?
Yep.
I think they still do it, right? I
think so, yeah.
don't know if that's stopped yet with expos getting weird.
Yeah.
So I filmed Richard Hawthorne, and I put one of my songs as the background, a song called Work, Hustle, Kill. It was the only song I had done. And people started taking the audio, looping it, and putting it up for download. And I was like, well, that's sort of cool. People like it. So I put it up on iTunes, and I think we had like 1,200 downloads the first month at 77 cents per download. So I got a check for $1,000. And I was like, wait.
I have a funny story about that.
What is this? Yeah. So then we made a full album, and the full album hit, I think like number 12 on iTunes somehow. And like we hit 13th on the Billboard chart, like Heat Seeker Billboard chart. Like it was fucking crazy. No record label, no anything. So that went really well. We started getting picked up by like ESPN, Under Armour, the NBA started using us. Like all of a sudden it was like,
it was a thing.
And we have no idea what we're doing. So we just kept making albums, and
it's crazy.
Here we are.
Yeah. No, it's funny. You bring up the money thing in YouTube. So like maybe like a year ago, I had a conversation with Tony. I'm like, Tony, this Instagram shit's for the birds. I'm like, we need to start getting hot and heavy on YouTube. And he goes, you know him? He's like, yeah, bro. He's like, I got maybe like 70,000 subscribers on there, and I barely feed it. And I'm like, dude, like, so I have an SEO guy that helps me with the YouTube stuff. So like, I give him my guy, and we start talking, and he gets Patrick on and starts getting the videos up, and he's like, bro, I went in my AdSense account and there was like a few $1,000 sitting in there. Yeah. And I'm like, dude, if you fucking wake up, you have money, I'm just going to follow you around and money will be falling out of your pockets. Yeah. But
it's changed now, though. It's different now.
It's different now, but you have to now in media, and I look at you as a media expert. That's why having you in here is awesome. And picking your brain, you have to now have your hand in multiple pots.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time that come at me and they say, John, I want to be sponsored by this company or that. And I'm like, what do you have? And they'll say like, well, I have Instagram. And I'm like, well, what else do you have? And they're like, I have Instagram. And I'm like, it's not enough. It's not enough today because it's so competitive. You have to have your hand in different things. And you have your hand in a bunch of things with podcasting, YouTube. I just think YouTube's the future, and that's where it's going.
YouTube's pretty interesting. I mean,
Say it.
I don't look at it for the money aspect, but like whenever anybody ever comes up to me, it's always, I love your videos. It's never like, I love your Instagram.
Well, it's stickier. Rob.
Yeah.
And it's a stickier platform.
And it's not just the photo of you standing in front of a car or at the range or something like that. Like, they hear you talk. They see you move. They get to identify you. It makes you a little bit more real. So
the evolution of media in fitness is very similar to the evolution in the firearms business. It started out where you could just be a pretty face and you could get away with that photo in front of a car.
Yep.
And now it's evolving. You have to be different. You have to be dynamic. You have to have different things going on. You can't get away anymore with just being like, yeah, here's me with my Bentley. And
it doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
Nope.
It doesn't play anymore because people are going to pick you apart. And you have to build your brand with a focus and with a dignity. You have to be careful about your choices, who you align yourself with, who you partner with. And you can't just say like, I want a discount code and that's it. Because it's a running joke now, like everybody and their mother is in that game. And you have to be different. And I don't think a podcast is for everyone, Rob, but I want to ask you early on in this, what advice do you give? Because I know your line is a million. You and Dana's line's a million miles long, and I cut it because I'm an asshole, and I'll say hi to you guys. But what advice do you give to the folks that come up to you and say, you know, how do I get to where you are? Where do you start?
So I normally start by saying, like, do you want to be where I am? You know what I mean? Like that's the biggest thing, is because, like, I think fuck, man, 75% of the people that stepped in my shoes would be like, oh, I don't want this. You know what I mean? Like, it looks great. It looks dope from the outside. Just like I probably, you know, I look at Jay's life and I'm like, Jay seems like he's the dopest life ever, but like, I don't know. You know, and I think
I hang with Jay in his warehouse when he's packing envelopes.
Yeah,
it's not the dopest life ever.
But that's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? And like, you never know what somebody's life is. You never know what the requirements are, or like what makes them tick. So I think a lot of times I would just kick it back on people. I'm like, well, you got to figure out like what makes you happy. You know what I mean? Because I went from being this size and doing everything to having a staff of, dude, at one point in time I had like 50 people working for me, and I hated it. And I realized that, like, oh, I don't want to scale up to a corporation. Like, that's not what I want. That's what I thought I wanted, because, you know, I chase progress but now I've realized, like, my goals are completely different, and they're not the same as somebody else's. Like, not everyone can live in Montana.
No,
and like it. You know,
you guys made an interesting choice in moving the team and bringing everything to Montana. I remember, you know, when you guys were my neighbor, and it was like up there, and, you know, I'm like, what the fuck are they doing up here? You know, like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
But it's a different life, and it totally is. I mean, you're definitely cut off from a lot of things in many ways, and you know, you got to fly into this tiny airport, and it's tough getting in and out of there. But you know, you guys built out the life structure that you wanted at a time in your life when it was very, you were still able, you weren't in a wheelchair yet, you know, you're still able to get around and enjoy it. And that's what's amazing. And that's what comes through. That adventure lifestyle, that outdoor lifestyle, that kind of like, I'm going to be a real man, that was, you know, burned into your brain, I feel, in Pennsylvania and coming up, and just kind of like, you were always an outdoorsman, always involved in that. You know, do you at all feel like now at some point you're going to just drift off and we're going to be like, where's Rob? Like, is that going to happen one day? Like,
no, I don't think, I mean, I've always thought that. I've always been like, one day I'm going to vanish, but I don't think I'll ever vanish, man. I like doing things. I was just talking to a guy on the plane, and he's like, oh, what's your long-term goals? And I was like, I don't really know, man. I'm like, I'm setting things up responsibly so that I could disappear if I wanted to, but like, I don't want to. I like doing the stuff.
And I asked O'Hearn this, you know, when you go to shows, you guys, and Mikey has an obnoxious line.
Yeah.
How, and I asked Jay this, how do you smile and shake everyone's hand over and over and over again? Because everybody has a different shtick.
Yeah.
I know that you're as gracious as all hell, but some people have it down. Like Flex has it down. He'll be like, hey mate, you know, and he does the hand and the hand, you know, do you have like a technique, or is it like what?
So I think what a lot of people don't realize is if I was doing it by myself, completely fine. I could rip through that all day. And I know how to, you know, I know the questions that are going to insult me. So like right now I'm getting a lot like, I thought you were going to be bigger. And like when someone walks up to you, and that's sort of what you're known for, is like, I've been known for being bigger, and they say, I thought you're going to be bigger. Right away you're like, why aren't you big? And like, it's instantly this like thing back and forth when you realize that like they just said that out loud. They're not trying to insult you. So I have that down, and then Dana has her side down, but it's always the dynamic of both of us. So not only am I worried about like giving the proper reaction, and like if someone's really hyped to meet me, I'm really hyped. Maybe someone's standing in line to make a weird YouTube video about me and try to trick me to say something, or, you know, whatever that interaction needs to be specifically. I also need to worry about Dana's interaction and then keeping her. So it's like, it's a little more difficult than like a Flex Lewis line. Not that, I mean, Flex's line, same thing, but it's like, it's very consistent, I think.
Right.
And mine's very like, sometimes they're like, I'm not here to see you, I'm here to see Dana.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, kicking the dick, but I'll stand over here, you know?
Flex's line's different. They're like, bro, what do you do for macros?
Yeah, why do your calves look like that? Yeah.
Why do your calves look like that? You know, I mean, it's crazy though, but you guys are all so gracious. And
if someone's going to stand in line to meet you, I mean, that's
huge.
Dope, right?
Yeah.
Like, and that's something that like, I don't think we'll ever take for granted or forget that's like a real thing. Like, that's a big deal to stand in line for something. Like, I know when I stand in line for anything, TSA, and it's like, this is the worst.
Right.
And if you're willing to stand in line for something, like someone to get a photo with them and talk for a second, like, I don't know, man. It's easy. It's easy to respect that. It's easy to like appreciate that.
It's amazing to see you guys do it because the lines are sometimes out the door at some of these events, and you literally hundreds of people, and you guys miss lunch, and it's hard, and you're trying to do everything on the fly. You know, for me, it all revolves around the food. And you said a lot of people say to you, "You look bigger." You know,
Look smaller.
I get smaller.
Yeah.
I get all the time, and they go, "You're in better shape than I thought." I go, "What?" Because I'm short, fat, and Italian. Is that a thing? But it's amazing. You guys do a phenomenal job, and when you get to the shows, they literally stay there till the last person. I have no idea how they do it. I would have to be smothered in CBD oil or something. But it is so gracious of you guys to do that. And now, tonight, right? Tonight's a big night for you.
No, what do you mean?
Is tonight a launch? Are you launching a new clothing line?
I have no idea what's happening.
Is Flagner Fail coming out with a new line tonight?
Oh, we're coming out with new products tonight.
New products
probably,
tonight.
yeah. I mean, we're down to. We used to do a release once a month,
Right.
but that was one of the problems. Was we would do 10, 20,000 orders in 15 minutes. So we needed 50 employees to fill that. So now what we've done is we just do it every single week. So we've spread those 20,000 orders out over 3 weeks, or
Now,
whatever.
The brand was always strong as far back as I can
Yeah,
remember.
it came out the gate.
It came out the
insanely
gate.
strong. Yeah,
And everybody says don't get into the soft goods business now. You know,
it's hard. Yeah.
It's very hard now.
Well, I was first to market.
You guys hit it at the
Yeah.
right time. What was it about the timing? And you always rather be lucky than good.
Yeah.
But what was it about the timing? A little bit of luck. I just feel like the brand was totally different. I feel like that was a time when like the T. Michael stringers were going out and all that. You know what I mean? And it was all kind of dying down. The Q had them, the Zubaz pants. You had those MC Hammer pants.
Oh, you bastard.
We'll find the pictures. But I feel like all that was dying down, and you guys came in with like a fresh line.
Yep.
It was like just really cool. Now everybody's moving towards like the Lululemon and Gymshark type stuff. But you guys hit it at the right time, and you're pivoting and coming out with a line that's looks even more comfortable and fucking, hugs your body better than anything.
Yeah. We I think because I walked into the fitness industry, I always followed bodybuilding, but I never followed the industry. And then when I started going to expos, I was like, man, everybody dresses so bad.
Horrible.
I just want to have a cool brand. So I've always been in the skate, the BMX, and like the hardcore scene. So I've always known people that like, I have a clothing line I sell at the back of my car. And that's just what I thought you did. So that's what I did.
And that's what it looked like. It was
started,
badass.
I started
Nobody was doing it.
a little hardcore graffiti streetwear line, and it was so fresh. The other brand that really was at these expos was House of Pain.
House of Pain.
And they were there, and I was like, I'm not gonna wear fake tat. Like, it just wasn't my style. And they had people buying the shit, but I entered, and then for like 2 years or a year and a half, we were like the only.
And you guys evolved properly every step.
And that's the
of the way.
thing. That's a lot of people get mad now because they're like, oh, I like your old stuff, and it's like, well, I like my old stuff too, but like, fuck, man, that was 10 years ago that we were writing Work, Hustle, Kill on shirts or Work or Die in big hand scripts. And it's like, if I'm not going to improve in 10 years, like,
you have to evolve.
You have to, man. And now with the ability that we understand cut and sew, we understand fabrics, we understand that, the line's turning into like this adventure, fitness, and lifestyle streetwear line.
I feel like it's starting to reflect your lifestyle now more and more.
Well, we're trying to give something for everybody. Like, we're still doing the graphic tees, but we're also doing like hammocks and hiking bags and things like that. And now, we're really sort of launching our fitness side, where you're not just wearing a t-shirt, you're wearing a breathable t-shirt that's moisture wicking and odor wicking. Like, we have the ability to do that now. So
yeah, it's the soft goods business. Like, I had Bruce in here, and he's like, I'll give you advice, don't do a t-shirt line. Do you feel like that market's gotten totally saturated now, and it's just what makes it so hard to get into now?
Well, it's easier than ever to get into. You know what I mean? If you want to start an apparel line, like, it's going to cost you $17, and you just upload it to your Instagram account. You're like, hey, I own my own clothing line. And like, the big thing is all your friends are going to buy it your first round. So you come out with shirts. You're gonna sell 17 shirts to your best friends, and then they're gonna it's gonna be great, and you're gonna think you're something. And the next time you come out with your next color, no one's gonna buy it because that's not no one's gonna buy it. That's the hard part. It's the hard part, that second shirt you come out with when all your friends are like, man, I already gave you $27.
Right.
Like, I don't want to do this again. So it's building a brand and something people connect with, and that's the hard part.
Yeah, it's interesting. The soft goods business intrigues the hell out of me. Because of that, it's gotten so easy to get into, but that makes it flooded. And it's funny because you guys have done such a good job evolving that I feel like I could see you guys even rivaling like a Cool brand or something like that down the line. If you wanted to, like you said, scaling becomes
that's the pivotal point that I'm at right now is so Andy Frisella and fucking dickhead always texts me the same thing. It's almost like every conversation he's with, like, you could be in the next Nike. And it's like, damn it, why do you keep saying that to me, man? Like, I feel like I'm okay. I feel like everything's under control. And then someone, because I respect the shit out of Andy.
It's never enough for him.
And somebody like that, like for him to say that to me, like he's not just blowing smoke up my ass. Like he means that like we could step up to a North Face. We could step up to like an Under Armour. I mean, obviously a different version of all those things. But like if I wanted to, he knows. And I know it too in my heart. But it's like I also know that's a big mountain I got to climb.
It's huge.
So it's always in the back of my head that like, do we scale there or do we always stay this size? Which is like, this is a really cool size brand that I have. I've never wanted to be in department stores. I've never wanted that. I've always just wanted direct consumer, limited, and a very manageable brand that keeps me happy.
Have you been approached by department stores?
Oh yeah, the whole right out the gate. I'd say the first 5 years, we were approached by everyone.
Was anyone ripping your designs off? Did you had to cease and desist a bunch of guys?
No, I just never cared. I've never really worried about that unless it's been like infringing on a name, but like designs and stuff like that. Like, I mean, for the first 5 years, we were knocked off by everybody, and I just didn't care, you know, because it's, you know, I would look at shirts and be like, oh, that's not my shirt, and it just doesn't matter. Right. You know, it's the person that's one step behind you. So, you know, are you really worried about that person?
It's a different take. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of guys who are like, I'm going to get lawyer up, and I'm going to.
No, I'm not worried about that.
Let's get into the vegan thing.
All right, I'm ready for
it. So you live in Montana.
Yes.
Let's set the record straight. This is going to be a tough one. We're 24 minutes in, so people are going to have to listen a little long to hear this.
Let's do it.
You live in Montana.
Yes.
I
grew up hunting.
Yep. I'm going to say you're pro 2A.
Yep. I probably have. I have a gun room in my house.
You don't have to get into specifics.
Okay.
You're pro 2A, and you're vegan.
Yes.
How does that work?
Very easily.
Break it down.
Very easily.
Break it down.
All right.
Everybody's waiting because we've been waiting for this one.
We'll quick start with the vegan thing, right? And I think I'll try to approach it a good way because I know it's very annoying. My whole life.
No. Give me the science because I had Stan Efforting in here. He broke everything down. Break it down.
He's very smart. I'm not smart. I'll say that, right? Where's the camera I can look at? I am not smart. So, all right. So I started out we got goats.
Okay.
Spur of the moment, we bought goats on the side of the road. We raised them, and they started acting like dogs. We also got a deer in Pennsylvania named Benjamin that every day you walk outside, Benjamin walks up, you pet him like a fucking dog, like. And all of a sudden, I'm like forming these relationships with animals. The turkey like follow me around. You pet their heads, and I'm like, these are all animals I eat. You know what I mean? So I was 305 pounds. I was
morbidly obese.
No, I mean I was strong as fuck, but I was big. And Dana and my creative director in Australia were like, "Hey man, we want you to lose weight. Like we're worried about you." And I was like, "All right, cool. I'll lose weight." So I switched to just fish because I thought that's how you could lose weight. So around that same time, forming the relationship with the animals, just switching to fish, my body like shredded down 20 pounds right away, and I felt awesome. Right away, when I stopped eating meat, my wedding ring fell off. Okay? And I was like, well, I started noticing that everyone's like, you lost so much weight. It's like I lost like the D-ball face with your bloated round face. All my joints got smaller, less inflamed. I grew up, I'd say when I was like 22, I started getting hemorrhoidal tissue. And my dad was like, you're just going to have that forever. One day you'll have to get surgery. And I was like, fuck, this sucks. Like that went away. And I was like, wait, why was meat doing all this weird shit to my body? So I grew up believing all this. So all of a sudden then I started having these like little jacked vegan friends that are like in my ear and they're like, bro, drop fish out. It's just like an animal. And I was like, all right, cool. I'll do it just to see what happens. Dropped fish out, was relying on eggs, and nothing really happened. I just felt great. My digestion was faster, but like nothing overall happened, positive or negative. Once the swelling went down, a little bit of hemorrhoidal tissue went down, and my face looked leaner. It was less round. I was like, okay, cool. That was the only changes I made. I noticed. Then everybody was like, well, dude, listen, see, your whole life you thought you needed meat, you thought you needed fish, you needed all these things, and you don't need. I'm like, yeah, but I'm still doing eggs and dairy, and that's why I'm fine. So 3 years ago, I dropped out eggs and dairy, and it's 3 years later. I'm 255. I just ran my mile. My mile time after not running was a 6:12 at 255. I don't know. I feel great. So like my thing is, I always think that everyone's lying to me because you understand marketing, right?
Yep.
So like all of a sudden after like a little bit in, I'm like, wait, like regardless of science, regardless of all this shit, is everyone lying to me? Like, do we not need to consume animals?
Well, we're all being lied to.
Exactly. But that frustrates me. It's like when kids find out that like, oh wait, so this protein powder is not gonna make me look like Jay Cutler. You know what I mean?
I know people that have eaten shit for saying that. Like that's, you remember years ago during Bigger, Faster, Stronger, what was it? What's his face? The Hydroxycut ad. I forget his name. You know who I mean? I
know the Hydroxycut ads.
Yeah, that guy got like ostracized from the business when he was like, yeah, man, people think like Hydroxycut makes you look like this. It doesn't. Like they dropped him. It was like a whole.
Well, the problem is it's other stuff. I mean, I own a supplement line. And I'm telling you right now, like my supplements aren't going to make you look like me.
Of course not.
I mean, I don't even look that great. They're not going to make you look like Dana. There's a lot of fucking hard work, and then there's a little bit of supplementation that helps things. And
that's why it's called a supplement.
But the problem is when you're a kid, you grow up, and then when you're 20, you're like, wait a second, I thought this was the magic. So like I had that same feeling, and I was like, wait, I thought meat was the magic. I've been told this whole time. And then once I made the connection in my head of animals don't need to suffer and die, whether, hunting's a sort of a different thing for me because I get it. But like these mass slaughterhouses, all this shit, even the shit that chickens go through, like for eggs, like the fact that they grind up all the males and the women are contained. Like I've had some decent relationships with chickens. It's weird to say, but like, dude, they jump up on your leg, you fucking hug them and shit. Like it's weird. It's more than just this thing that's not just food, So once I formed all that and I realized we don't need it, then it's a like a moral thing to where it's like, now I know it's been 3 years. I've got my blood panels done. I'm fine. And everyone's like, well, where are you getting this? I'm like, I told you I'm not fucking smart. I'll look at the camera again. I'm not smart, but somehow everything's fine. So like the overcomplication that I've been taught of, well, where's calcium going to come from? Where's your B vitamins going to come from? Oh, where are you going to get those special fats from? I'm like, I don't fucking know. They're coming from somewhere. It's working. But like, it's that making everything way overcomplicated to, I feel like, scare you to keep you in that industry. You know what I mean?
Now, I'm absorbing everything you're saying. Because I'm a little like you in the sense that I don't look at anything as religious. Like some people are like, you have to have red meat.
Gotcha.
I grew up on the East Coast, grew up in Boston. What do you eat all the time? Fish. So Tony would debate with me all the time about, having beef because he was indoctrinated into that vertical diet. I had Stan on and I listened to what he said and I started putting the red meat back in. Like I would never openly, just to see, and it does help with recovery and things like that. Have you seen any loss in recovery because of the switch?
I also don't train as hard.
Okay.
I mean, well, I don't train as heavy.
Right.
No one, because my joints are falling up. There's no reason
There's no
for me to
reason.
deadlift 700. I don't know.
I have that argument all the time, and Tony's learning that. But it's one of those things. You do evolve as you get older, but you've been able to kind of seamlessly incorporate this. Now, the thing I think that scares everybody about veganism and making the plunge is it's almost like a freaking religion. So, and that's the thing. So let's expand on how I eat real quick, right? So everyone's like, well, I can't do that. I'm like, well, you don't need to like be vegan. You know what I mean? Like everyone's like, well, I can't buy a car without leather interior. It's like, well, it seems like there's this hard line to it. And I think what it is it's working towards those things. So like, for example, when I originally turned vegan, I called up my friend in Florida. I was like, hey man, so I'm doing the whole vegan thing. Do I need to throw out all my leather shoes and my belt, like my Cardillo belt? And he was like, no, why would you do that? I'm like, well, because, I don't know the rules. He's like, bro, stop it with the fucking rules. Like, it's like saying,
you know, oh, you're Republican, so you have to believe everything Republicans believe, or you're Democrat, so you got to be an insane person. So I don't want to fit under that. So yes, I still wear leather shoes. I try not to buy leather shoes. And like when I buy new cars, I stick with a cloth interior or whatever. So I make these conscious efforts. When I get a salad and it has cheese on top, I don't send it back. I like try not to eat all the cheese, but like I consume a little bit, but like I also not trying to fuck up the table or waste food or anything like that. So I think like all those little rules that people get hung up on, stop. Same thing lifting weights. It's like, wow, fuck, man, it's been 27 minutes since I trained. I didn't have my shake, so I'm going to miss my window. And it's like, you're going to be all right.
You're going to make it.
You know what I mean? And I think
You're gonna make it.
That's the thing. That's the problem with veganism is it used to be this crazy, like hard-lined group of people that were just too much. And that's why I was scared of it. And the more I kept meeting people, I was like, oh, this is fine. Like, you know, if I'll go out and I'll order pancakes. I don't ask if there's an egg in it. You know what I mean? Like, I'll just eat fucking pancakes. And like, granted, there's someone who's gonna hear it, like, well, then you're not vegan, bro. All right, for fuck, man, then I'm not vegan. I didn't order eggs, but I ordered pancake. There may or may not be an egg in there. But outside of that, like, what am I gonna eat? Potatoes? Like,
it's funny you bring up breaking down the walls of rules, because even like Rogan was talking about this the other day. He's like, I get pitted as a Republican. He's like, but I'm left of everything but guns. Yeah. He's like, I'm left of everything, but I also believe in something that, you know, is in our Bill of Rights. Yeah. He's like, so, you know.
And that's why, like, I can't identify with parties because, like my dad's a super hard Republican. I disagree with him on, like, 80% of things. And my mom's, it's a perfect household. She's, like, a fanatical Democrat. And, like, I disagree with her on 80%. So I'm like, I don't even know what am I? But that's also like, I'm just not going to identify with a name. Right. You know, that's my favorite.
That's just part of the beauty of having the debate and having the long form discussions. And it's tough because as you get older, like you're saying, you mature a little bit. Like you become ideally you become a little. That's why I say a little bit. You mature a little bit and you start to take in people's belief system. And you say sometimes you have to say like, look, bro, I get it. That's what you believe. Yeah. That's cool. But you know, here's what I believe, and sometimes you can agree to disagree. And I think it was something that just went viral the other day was the Ellen DeGeneres thing where she was sitting next to Bush, which was really cool. And she got up and did her monologue, and she broke it down. She said, yeah, we don't agree, but I can sit next to the guy. I'm friends with the guy. Yeah. I can hold a conversation. We're all not going to agree on everything. Yeah. Okay? We're all not going to agree on the best system for living life. Okay? We can only use the system we feel is best and supports us and supports our belief system. Now, with that being said, there is a science component behind nutrition and behind certain things. So, you know, you kind of try to hear people's science, and I say people's science because Stan has a science behind the vertical diet. You have a little bit of a science and a real life experience behind the veganism. Yes, it's definitely no doubt it'll decrease inflammation. It'll help with a lot of the wear and tear on your gut. Of course, gut health is becoming a huge thing, especially now as more and more research comes out behind gut health. What else have you seen that maybe people who haven't experienced or tried veganism that has helped you?
It's just very carb heavy, I think. Once again, I'm not a nutrition expert at all.
I've seen you eat a pile of garlic knots, so I understand.
You bought those for me.
I did.
I bought all the ones in the restaurant.
I supported veganism that night.
But like the same thing, there was a butter on there, and then who knows what was in the dough. Like, but that's the thing is like I don't. If it's 2 a.m. and it's crazy, like, I don't know, man, I'm just going to eat whatever that bread stuff is right there. Like, I'm not going to have pepperoni on it, but, you know, I'm not going to be crazy about it. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't eat too crazy. If I was trying to be a professional bodybuilder or something like that, it would be different. And I think that's what a lot of people come up to me and they're like, yeah, man, but I'm just trying to get jacked. It's like, well, then get on a bunch of gear. Yeah. Because that's going to get you jacked no matter what. Exactly. And it's like, you just figure out your priorities. And I think that people don't know why they eat meat and they get really defensive about it. I haven't noticed anything other than like, it doesn't define me. You know what I mean? I don't get mad at other people. Like Dana still eats fish. I'm like, how do you deal with that? I'm like, what do you mean deal with it? Like, she eats that and I eat this and we're fine.
I got away from the fish, and when I went back to the meat, and I realized I started to smell better.
Yeah, fish changes when she would prep that last like 2.
You stink.
Yeah, she only eats one. She eats like 1 meal a day right now. That's all she does.
I'm the same way. Like, it's funny. I got in really good shape when I did the Blackstone deal, and I was doing Gasp. And then, you know, as kind of time went on, I settled into like 3 meals a day. And like people will call me. It's a running joke. They'll be like, I go to the gym for like 20 minutes, and they're like, how do you do that? And I'm like, look, I've been 225, 230 since I was in 8th grade, 9th grade. I'm like, it's not going to really change. I graduated high school. I was that size. I'm like, it's not going to change. I can get up to 250 if I lift weights and I try. I'm like, but I'm the type, you know, I can look at a steak and gain 10 pounds. I mean, my mother was 5 feet tall, like 250 pounds if she looked at a bowl of pasta. You know what I mean? It's just, that's how I grew up. So I try to stay away from carbs and things like that because they bloat me and they make me feel tired. And I grew up eating so much Italian food in my house that I can't even look at it anymore. When people are like, I want to go to an Italian restaurant, I'm like, ugh, I can't, you know, I just can't do it. So I find myself eating less and less. And that's something Stan brought up. He goes, you don't need as much as you get older. Your body's kind of begins to establish.
Your body's good.
Yeah, your body's good. And like you said, you get a lot of those nutrients. You don't have to seek them out.
No, they're there.
They're there.
You got to eat a variety. If you eat white rice and chicken every day, you're not going to get them.
You're not going to have a mix. But I stay on top of the gut health. I do a lot of the superfoods. I do a lot of the turmeric. And when I snack, I try to snack around healthy things. Like I'll have an Icon cookie or a Quest bar, or I'll have something, you know.
Have you read the ingredients in this motherfucker?
Yeah.
Dude, it's crazy how much good shit's in there.
Yeah. The Built product's really good. Now, get into that now, because you have your hand in a lot of different products that you talk about and don't talk about. What are some of the products that you can talk about that you have your hand in that people really don't necessarily know that you're willing to discuss?
I have my hand in? Well, I mean, like for example, Built's a relationship that it was when Joey first started sending us Built, I was like, oh, this is dope. Like, but I didn't really, you know, I didn't know what it was. I was just drinking it. And then the more I started to like it, I was like, oh, I'm drinking it. And like, we didn't have any kind of agreement for, I don't know, 6 to 8 months. I was just promoting it just because I liked it. I like Joey and I like Built, so it was just like, hey man, and he's like, dude, you don't have to keep sharing it. Like, I'm just sending it to you because, and that's normally how we do things. We don't do a lot of things for money. Like, I think a lot of the other influencers have to, because
I think that's a short-sighted view how other influencers. And I want to get into that, but
okay.
Built is something, you know, it's funny. I'll tell you my quick story with it, because we both end up in the same place. We take different cars, you and I. I definitely don't take a Porsche there. But, you know, Jay said, you know, here, take a case, you know, see if you like them, you know, for the studio. And I said, geez, these are pretty good. You know, he goes, well, I'm going to connect you with Joey. I said, wait a minute. I said, you know, what are they like? Like, how are the guys? And I said, because I know they changed the original formula. And Jay looked at me and he goes, yeah, he goes, Joey and those guys, they're willing to listen. And that's something that stuck with me, because Dom Rosso said to me years ago, he goes, I can only work with brands that listen. Yeah. And the fact that they were willing to kind of evolve their formula, do things a little differently, that said a lot to me. And when I had a call with them, I said, hey man, you know, kind of like here. So I got this studio, I got guests in all the time. Love to have some of your product here for them. I said, I have Monts, I have a few things. And I said, Jay, and I know, I'm sure Rob speak highly of you. And he said, yeah, I appreciate that. And he goes, what drew you to the product? I said, the fact that you're willing to evolve and listen to folks. And he goes, wow, he goes, that goes a long way. And that's kind of how I approach it. And it's not a money talk. It's not anything like that. It's more like, you know, if it's good for the guests, good for you, you know, put some on the table, hang out and see where it goes. But I think a lot of guys are short-sighted. They approach media and they approach things like, give me $50.
Yep. I'll post this for $100.
You know, how have you dealt with that? Because I know people probably roll up on you and say that.
So if anyone asks me to post anything, I say no. That's our rule, is like, if you want me to post something, no. Like, we legit only post things we want to post. So if you see Dana post something, and it blows my mind sometimes, the stuff that she posts, and I'm like, you just posted that to 2 million people. Like, do you realize the sales boost? She's like, well, I like it. I'm like, all right. Just remember, like,
it moves the needle.
Yeah, and I think we're, you know, it's the same thing. Like, I mean, our relationship with Quest, you know, for example, like, dude, she used to live on Quest bars and share. There was never an agreement, a dollar traded, anything. It was just legit because we like it, because we have the businesses on the backside. We don't need a lot of that. For example, Trifecta, you know what I mean? The reason we're with Trifecta, that's an amazing food prep company. Like, we've been approached by all the other food prep companies. It's always been this conversation. And Trifecta, dude, they're amazing. Like, who they're tied in with, their overall game plan. Like, I heard the dude's game plan long term. I don't know if I can share it. I don't know if it's like a public thing, but like, it's from the heart. It's good. Like, it's good people doing good shit.
And it's funny you bring that up. When you peel back the layers, like, Quest is the same way. If you if you know Ron and Shannon, and you know that their mission towards
they're in it for the right reasons,
and what they're funding and what they have their money going towards, you really are like, this is an awesome brand. And they have a similar story. Like, Bruce will tell you the story about, like, Ronda Rousey used to post Quest like crazy, and she would put that up on her social media, you know, all the time. And they never put a dime towards her. It was all organic. It was all natural. It was all real. That doesn't mean I don't necessarily believe in paid ambassadors. I think people's time is worth money.
I completely agree.
Especially if this is where I part ways, and when I explain to brands, I say, are you giving them the product and expecting something back? And if they say, I said, so you are.
Yeah.
If you're expecting something back, because there was a thing in the gun industry for a long time, people would send you like a muzzle brake, and they would think they owned you. Like, they'd be like, "Oh, you're not gonna post that up? You're not gonna do that?" And I'd be like, "Dude, that is like a $50 item. Like, what do you want? You want?
I'd rather not get that.
I'd rather not get it from you. I'd rather go buy it." And that was like a running thing for a long time. We're talking about food, and Chris Cavallini's calling me from Nutrition Solutions, but it's one of those things. So I always say, what is your expectation? Let's start with that.
That's something I learned, because I was ruining a lot of relationships like that, where people would send me something and I didn't realize it was a big deal. So a new company that didn't have that much really looked up to me, finally got in touch with me, and would send me $100 in product. And I'm like, oh, cool, man, I'll try it out. And they're like, well, what would you think? I'm like, well, it was okay. When are you going to post it? But not realizing that.
And you're like, I got to go.
But not realizing that showed up in the mail to me, and I didn't ask for it.
You're like, new phone, who does?
Yeah, right. But it's no big deal. It's like, okay, cool. I didn't take it very serious, but to them, it'd be like me sending one of my T-shirts to The Rock, and being like, are you gonna wear it? I know better than to be a little like that. But it's a really big deal to them. So it's just me. It's not a big deal to me. It's a really big opportunity to them. So they're excited, and I look at their excitement as you're overstepping bounds. They're looking at it as Rob's a fucking Hollywood asshole. So that is the important question to ask right off the bat. Like, oh, cool. Like, what do you expect me to do for this?
Yeah, I mean,
and let's write it out.
You can get into loosey-goose relationships, and now with the ability to do a story and things like that, it's a little bit easier to kind of loosen that up. Like, Tony's very gracious at times. He'll be like, yeah, throw a story up. I'll help you out. And I say this all the time. I've never asked Tony once to do a post. I've never asked him to do anything. I don't. In all my years, and I tell brands that I'm like, look, these guys are all going to do what they want. I'm like, you're not going to tell them what to do, but what you have to do is establish an expectation. Yeah. And there is an unwritten rule. Okay, if somebody sends a few $100s worth of product or whatever, like, we ask every guest when they're in here, we're like, look, everything's kind of branded, whatever. If you could throw a story up, support the brand, whatever, that'd be great. If not, no harm, no foul. We're not mad at it. Now, people do what they want. It's a failing model, I think, as an ambassador and as people, and I'm saying people that come up to you or people that roll up on you and Dana with all your brands and say, geez, Rob, Dana, I'd love to get behind your brand and I'll do a post, but I'm $500 a month. And I think that's like just not the way to go. And I don't even do that like with friends. I have friends that say, John, you took in this product, but you didn't take in my product. And I'm like, you called me and you said, bro, I'll send you some shorts or something. And I'm like, no, you don't have to. I'm like, I don't, like, I have the dude from Strike Force Energy on at the end of the month. He's a former SEAL.
Yeah, we just went through that. I just tried to send, I remember now, I just tried to send you product. And you're like, no, I'm good. I just said it was dope.
And the reason I'm that way is I'll say this to any guest that's on. I'll be like, come do the show. If you like the show, you like the setup, you come by and you want to support it, bro, send something down. We'll put it out. We'll put it on the table. We'll support it. I'll wear a shirt. I'll wear whatever. Like, I had a company called Chowderheads in Boston. They make, these obnoxious, haters shirts and Patriot stuff and everything. They noticed I wore one of their hats on the set one time. And they said, hey, we'd like to send you like a T-shirt and a hoodie. And I said, why? They were like, you tagged us and put it up. I said, yeah, I just like your stuff, man. I bought this shirt, and they're like, that's really cool. We want to still send you a sweater. I said, all right, cool. I was like, that's cool. And it's just like, if it's organic and it's real and it matters.
And I think people can tell that.
People can tell. Like, it's keeping it simple and letting it speak for itself. And if you tag a company a lot and support a brand and you go out of your way to kind of make it real and you genuinely enjoy it, like I'll drink 2 of these Builts while I'm sitting here. I like them. I mean, they're good drinks.
That's how that relationship started for us.
Yeah,
like, they're just good.
It's totally cool. The Laird Superfood. So they sent us a care package. Shout out to them. They said to me, they go, "What do you like about the product?" They actually had a good line of questioning. I said, "What do you like about the product?" I said, "I use turmeric all the time. I'm like, I drink it. I make a drink every morning with it. I use your creamer. I enjoy it." And they said, well, we'd like to send you out some stuff. And then they were like, what do you want? I was like, I love your creamers. I'm like, if you send your creamers, we'll drink them, we'll use them, we'll recommend them to guests. They were like, we love that. It's stuff like that.
And
it's just real.
They don't know this, but you said that to me earlier. I use the turmeric creamer. I buy it. I buy it on Amazon. I buy 2 bags at once. I keep one at the warehouse, one at my house. Like, that's a product that I use. It's... People forget that, like, you can use things that you like.
Yeah, you can use things.
Not everything,
and keeping it natural. But I think a lot of guys who are aspiring, like we were saying, that come up and try to play that game, I think they fall short because they come out of the gate expecting. It's the expectation that's not managed properly. And I think that that's what it should be. And there should be expectation management is what everyone should be taught.
That's a
the
good,
better,
put that on your resume.
Put it on your resume.
With expectation management.
Expectation management. Because it's been the Wild West in both industries for a really long time. And that's what kind of needs to stop. Because the last thing you want to do is have a failed relationship like you said.
Exactly.
What a brand.
And I think that's one of the good things with Dana and I in the fitness industry is we're very well respected. We've never done anything weird. We've never exited a company weird. We don't really talk shit. And I think that's a reason we've been in the industry for 12 years now doing very well, is because we didn't do any weird stuff, And I think that we always, I posted something the other day about I had a bad day, but I drove my 911, so it was a good day, or something like that.
All the time.
And I checked my phone the next day, and Jay texted me that night, and he's like, "Is everything all right, man?" And it still fucking blows my mind that the people that I look up to in the industry, legit have looked up to forever. I'm friends with these people now, and it's we know generally all the same people, and there's a right way to do it, and then there's a really weird way to do it.
Yeah, it's funny. I'll go by Jay's shop, and I'll just sit there, and it's like 150 degrees, and he's packing envelopes.
Vegas,
and,
man, it's too much.
And he's just bullshitting with me, and he'll be like, he'll be like, you want anything? And I'm just hanging out, and I'm like, nah, man, I'm just chilling. And it's just sitting there absorbing, the knowledge and just kind of hanging out. And Jay and I are from the same area. We grew up in it. So there's that kinship. We talk actually a lot. People think I sit there. This is the funniest misconception. People think because a lot of my fitness friends, I sit there and we talk about lifting weights. We're talking about old restaurants, family. I'll ask him how his dad's doing. I'll tell him I miss home, and he'll he'll ground me. He texted me one time. He was like, I know, he's like, I know you miss home, bro. He's like, we'll get together. We'll do dinner one night. He's like, people legitimately care if you approach the relationship the right way and if you handle it the right way. And there is a right way to do it. And I value relationships a ton. I think you know that. I think you've seen that about me.
Yeah, I can tell.
And I try to help everybody. I tell people all the time, my phone's on, call. If there's something you need and I can do it, I'll do it. It'll get done in my world, in my sphere of influence. And I've always been that way. And I don't think anybody would ever dispute that. But the reality is, you can't do for everyone, and it's hard. And when you have a brand and you're growing, and the way you and Dana have, I mean, you guys have people coming out of the woodwork, trying to jump in and trying to be involved. How do you manage that, and how do you handle that?
Well, it's sort of gone away. I think that's the big thing is especially with Flagner Fail. Originally, everyone wanted to be a part of it, and we allowed people to be a part of it by their own interpretation of a part of it, but never let people into the inner circle of the brand, never did ambassadors or anything like that. And I think that one of the decisions we talk about a lot is like a lot of our fan base that was pretty popular just went to these other brands. You know what I mean? So if you look back to like 5 years ago, I feel like, you know, there's a lot of people that were wearing our brand, but they wanted to be part of something. And I think that other brands stepped up and gave them that opportunity. And we're like, well, yeah, you can be one of our ambassadors. So they just went from our brand to somewhere else. And I still don't think that was the wrong move on our part. I think that, I think that people know that Flight Nor Fail is a very specific thing. I mean, we reach out to models that we see. You know, no one ever reaches out to us really, and we're like, oh, yeah, this person would work. It's always somebody that like I see and I keep an eye on for a little while. And I'm like, yeah, they'd be perfect. You just gotta watch and make sure they don't do any weird shit. Make sure they're legit people. Yeah, and then you hit them up and you're like, hey, would you want a model for the brand or something like that? So it hasn't really been a concern recently, and also just because like the ambassador world, all that, it's such a weird space right now.
It's so weird.
Yeah,
it's gotten really strange out there, and it's tough. It's even stranger in the firearms world, and I think a lot of
that's an industry that I don't understand.
Yeah. What's the biggest thing?
I don't know. I mean, I have a couple friends that are in it, and then obviously there's like the fringe of the fitness world that's like sort of stepping into
it. There's a lot of facets to it. So let me say that I will say this: both industries are very similar, and that's why you see that. Like when Tony and I were really pushing and colliding fitness with the firearms business, there was this theory that I floated out there. They said, well, why so many bodybuilders? Why so many? I said, because we all share a similar belief system. We all specialize in wanting to be more badass, more of them, do manly things, fun stuff, and firearms and outdoors and hunting are all extensions of that. Most of your fitness guys you'll find are into those things, and you have a huge Leo population in the fitness community. You have a huge Mill population in the fitness community. You have that huge crossover into both areas. In the same with MMA. So when I decided to do this podcast, I wanted to make it like all things defense, health, fitness, all things outdoors, everything. The theory was, I want to get all these cool people in that come from different walks of life, but at the end of the day, they all believe that I'm my own best protector. I'm my own best protector, and I'm going to do the things that I feel necessary to protect myself, my brand, my family, everything that I'm doing, and get their theories and get their thought process put out there. Now, the firearms business, similar to fitness, is very, very juvenile. It's everybody worries about what everybody else is doing. Everybody's trying to pick apart everybody's theories. Everybody's trying to shoot holes in it. And I think a lot of that is starting to slowly dissipate, and a lot of that is due to what we talked about earlier, the influx of video, the influx of audio, because now you can no longer be a troll and sit in front of a computer, take a picture in front of a fancy car, be ripped, and just kind of like almost be silent, like just kind of do like a Brad Castleberry or something, you know what I mean? And
the problem with Brad's actually really fucking strong, man.
That's crazy.
That kid's really strong.
I had Michael Hearn talk about the fake weights thing because I wanted to educate people on, and I'm not picking on Brad. This isn't what that's about.
No, I barely know Brad, but
I'm not.
The frustrating thing is I see some things online that I question, but then I also know that like, no, he's strong.
So I had Mike break down how fake weights even exist because I wanted to educate people.
Have you ever touched a fake weight?
I've never touched one.
Dude, they're insane.
Yeah.
So I went to a photo shoot. They're literally 45s are 5 pounds.
And that's what I broke down to the folks because they didn't understand, Rob. Some people didn't understand where fake weights even came from. So years ago, and Branch and Jay used to tell me this story, they used to do photo shoots with real weights. And that was crazy because guys were getting hurt. They would pull a quad after a show. Like they would blow out because your muscles, they're not properly hydrated. They're not So guys, there's a famous story. I forget the bodybuilder's name, but during a photo shoot, I think somebody was photo shooting him, and he tore a quad because they had a lot of
weight on it. Dehydrated, 4 or 5 on the bar.
All that. And so they exist. So the point is they exist for a reason. And sometimes during demos, it's like, and I try to explain this to the public as great as possible. Having a half-pound or quarter-pound trigger is great on a gun, but you can pretty much mimic full auto when you have that. You can pretty much slap the trigger as fast as humanly possible and have the gun shoot really fast. That's a gun that's really set up for demo purposes or for the purpose of you wouldn't carry that. It wouldn't make sense. I wouldn't make sense for me. Maybe JJ, Ricazzo, certain people might carry that, or Max, but it's not something I would carry at that point just because I wouldn't feel comfortable with it. A nice 1.5 pound to 3 pound, 1.5 pounds to 3 pound trigger is perfect. Same thing with fake weights. They have a purpose, but there's people out there that I think the fame and the greed takes over, and they go and they start blowing out world records. Now, would anybody fault Brad if he had 405 on the bar doing a bench and one of the weights happened to be a fake weight and he was doing it for a video or photo? Yeah, if he did 30 reps, people might be like, all right, this is ridiculous. But if he did 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 reps, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. The reality is I think people take it too far and they do it under the guise of, you know, this is real, and I just broke 7 world records in my local gym with no spotter. Like, that's when it starts to jump the shark. And I'm not putting it down. I'm just keeping it. I'm just being real about the whole thing. It's just that's where it starts to go too far. You know, would I wear shoes that could make me dunk like Michael Jordan? Yeah. But would I believe I could play in the NBA? No. I mean, that's just the real reality of it. And I'm just trying to explain it to everybody and break it down that there are things out there that exist that make you better or can make you stronger or make you give the perception of better. But the reality is you have to realize what's for demo and what's reality. And the minute you start to blur the two as a human being, it's like once you start believing your own lies and believing your own hype, you've gone too far.
Yeah.
Know it for what it is.
Yeah.
Be like, hey, you know, man, it was a demo. Hey, it was what it was. You know, and leave it at that. But I think guys take it a little too far. Now, the firearms business, like I said, is very juvenile. It's interesting. You have so many different sects in it that it's hard to pick it apart.
Well, that's why. So, like, for example, I have a Galotech wall in my bedroom.
Shout out to Brent.
And that's one of my main. So people ask, like, being vegan, why? So I'll circle back around to the second part. But, like, so I have a mini farm. Dana has a mini farm. She has goats. She has dogs. We just had a mountain lion take. We had a mountain lion take a goat. And Dana found Max, who was the goat, R.I.P., pulled up against the fence, and she picked him up. He was still warm. He was still floppy. Oh. And she's laying there, and she's like, did he have a heart attack? She doesn't understand. It's pitch dark. It's snowing. And she was there for about 15 minutes, right? My brother walked up. They called me. They're on the phone. And this is the story that I use to promote, like, yeah, we should have AR platforms. I should be allowed to have anything the fuck I want. Maybe not anything, but, like, to a reason, you know, whatever. I should have a tank because I need a tank for this story. So she's holding the fucking goat. It's been like 10 minutes. She's on the phone. My brother gets in. My brother's on the phone. And he's like, yeah, I don't understand. The goat's like wedged up against the fence in the back where he's normally not at. And I'm like, look around, man. And all of a sudden I hear him start yelling. I hear Dana start screaming. And then like that running phone sound. Like, and I'm like, and I'm in LA. I'm like, what's going on? What's going on? Like, there's a 200-pound cat literally like 3 to 4 feet in the bushes. Obviously 6-foot fence, but Dana sat there for 10 minutes. So we almost lost Dana. So, you know, we have mountain lions that are attacking the goats so I was like, all right, well, like I need a weapon that is small enough for Dana to handle that, you know, I don't know if handguns, we have handguns there too, but we did a 300 blackout short, so very manageable for her, like set up so that if Dana needs to shoot this, she can try to stop a mountain lion, at least have some kind of, you know,
at least
effort.
Make enough noise.
Something, right? You
gotta get an Alaskan, a Ruger Alaskan.
A Ruger Alaskan?
44 or 454.
I'll look at you for advice. I don't know. But so that's my argument for why like I have weapons hanging in the bedroom is because we live in Montana. We have really strange wild animals that like I'm not always there. So not that I could do anything or fight a mountain lion, but
I think you could.
You think I could?
I think you could.
You got faith in me?
I got faith
my
in
man.
You.
But the one thing I don't like about that, like, it's the same thing as fitness, right? You do a curl, everyone's going to comment that you curled wrong. Like the few times I've posted either me shooting a gun or Dana shooting a gun, it's just
pure hate.
Thousands of comments about how wrong I'm doing it. So that's the one part that like that industry, like I understand fitness industry, but as far as I'm like, maybe I am holding it wrong. I felt like it was right. I don't know.
So the problem is with the gun industry is, and this is kind of like when I used to run booths at shows and still do. I used to say, listen, everybody's somebody. Just ask them. Everybody's an expert, right? And I used to like whenever you're educating your booth team, you're always like, listen, whenever someone comes up, they're all somebody. They'll tell you. Just ask them. Let them do their thing. Don't insult them. Let them go about their business. Just remember, everybody thinks they're someone. And I got that advice years ago in the locker room with football when a coach said to me one time in college, he pointed around and he said, remember, everybody here was an all-star. Everybody was a big swinging dick, where they come from. And that's kind of what you got to remember. And when you go online, everybody has an opinion. There's, like I said, there's hunting experts, there's archery experts, there's this one, there's that one, but there's very few people that actually are experts, okay, that actually come from that background. Like I joke all the time about the gun industry. I say this, and I'm sure you could say the same thing in the fitness industry. How many of you actually draw a check from a defense company?
Okay.
How many of you actually are paid by a defense company? You have a salary, and you actually work in a building that manufactures weapons. Oh, you don't? Oh, okay. I just want to establish that. Because online and having an account doesn't make you an expert. If you're a master gunsmith, you have your own, I respect that. If you have, but please don't start with the whole like, you know, if you instruct and you have years of instructing and you have a superior background that enforces that, but at the end of the day, relax. Everybody just relax.
Everyone relaxes. I think the best advice.
Everyone just relax, because they become almost like a hate mob, and they become like a social media mob out there. There's no question I'm a pro 2A guy. Okay, there's no question I'm a little bit to the right of certain things. I grew up Catholic. I grew up Christian. I'm rooted in guilt, so I have certain belief systems that put me in that place. Now, with that being said, I think everybody should go out and earn their own money. I think America is a beautiful place. I think you can go out and you can accomplish beautiful things here. If that makes me slightly to the right or conservative, then so be it. But that's just what I believe. Now, with that being said, I absolutely believe in any situation you can justify, whether it's owning an AR platform, whether it's owning an AK platform, whether it's owning, there's a justifiable reason along the way. Yes. Now, there's a reason certain ordinances are not allowed and certain things are not allowed, but I absolutely believe that we should be able to defend ourselves to the best of our ability. With that being said, you have a different element. You have the animals and you have the attack. Like, that is absolutely scary. A mountain lion, if you ever YouTube, and if you guys out there YouTube like a lion attack or something, like, they'll tear your face off. One strike.
You just said I could fight one. I don't know who you think I am.
You have to declaw it, I think, and defang it or whatever. But it'd be interesting to see.
So we got to do a lot of work before it. Okay.
We got to do some things. But I think that there's an absolute justifiable place for a lot of these things. Now, with that being said, there's always going to be dissenting beliefs. But, the firearms industry is strange because you have so many, it's secular. You have so many different sects. The hunters don't really, interact with the tactical guys. The tactical guys kind of stay away from the hunters. You have the ex-mil guys, you have the Leo guys, and then you have the instructors. So everybody, when you walk around a show, and I explained this one time, I think it was at a dinner. Bradley Martin was there. Somebody else was there. The difference between the fitness industry and the firearms business is everybody in the fitness industry wants to look like a killer. In the firearms business, there are actual trained killers.
Yeah,
so there's a little bit different element to it. And that's a testament to all the great men and women and everybody that made some level of sacrifice. With that being said, to learn and to hone their craft. With that being said, it creates a lot of experts and everybody knows everything. And it's the same thing in fitness, and that's why the two industries collide so well. But I think like anything else, you reach a point where you're just like, you don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
You don't give a fuck.
That's where I'm at.
And you're just like, okay, dude, cool. That's
great,
like,
man.
That's like your opinion, man. You just have to kind of chalk it up as that, and you have to kind of like let it ride. And I think a lot of people make the mistake of trying to argue. And I want to ask you this: how have you dealt with haters through the years? Did you used to banter with them, or?
I never really care if people hate me, because as I started, I would hate. I got a fucking mohawk man bun. Right?
Universally disliked.
I don't know. Yeah, it's if you want to look like a dickhead, you have a mohawk man bun. And then I shave my face with this like reverse like fucking.
Yeah, but it works.
Like, I look like I hope it works.
It
for
works
me. I do it. I see myself in the mirror every day. But like, I would hate me too. I'd be like, fuck that dude. Why are his jeans so tight? Why does he have that hair? Like, he's trying to look like an asshole. So I've never really had an issue, right?
Right.
But my big thing has been like Dana, because like. I don't care if people hate me, but like you talk shit on my wife, and now all of a sudden it's like
you gotta jump.
Hey man, send me your address. Like I travel the world. Eventually, I'm gonna be in your state.
It's funny when I've had arguments with people, Rob, especially in the firearms. I've said the same thing over and over again. I have a booth. I'm not hiding.
Yeah.
And you travel more than I do, so you're everywhere. So I'm like, dude, I got a booth. Come, here's my booth. I'm not gonna do the whole, I'll get a plane ticket right now. Like I'll be straight with everybody, anyone that hates me. I'm too lazy for that shit. It's not gonna happen. But I got a booth, dude.
Yeah.
Like, and it's amazing. It amazes me, Rob, the amount of people that will walk right by you at a show.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and I'm even over that now.
Yeah.
Like, so when I started out, I wasn't used to people making fun of your wife. Like, that's when I wanted to fight people. And then, like, by the time that she got enough confidence where I noticed it didn't bother her, then I was like, well, who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
Like, I think one of the biggest things you can do from a marketing aspect is provoke emotion, right?
Yeah, you can.
And you can't even, don't label what that emotion is, whether it's sex sells, whether it's anger, whether it's hate, whether it's anything. It's like, if you can provoke emotion, you can do something with that. So if she's posting something and if everyone just hates her, you're still provoking emotion.
And I'll say this about both of you to everybody that doesn't know you guys. It's easy at a show or in life to come off as, you know, kind of quasi disinterested in people, like you said, coming off as the asshole. But when you get to know you guys, there's no better group of people. I mean, especially
man,
you,
thanks.
your family, everybody, and I know it's a family operation. Everybody has a huge hand in what you guys do, and I love seeing that stuff come out more and more in your posts and stories. And I think you do a phenomenal job of, like, you know, you get like the niece running around, you get it's awesome. I mean, that's the stuff that I feel, you know, opens people up to, like, dude, this is real life. Like, I care about, like, taking my niece to T-ball or something. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I care about.
Yeah.
Like, relax. Everyone just kind of cool out. Like, we're in real life. Yeah, it's all back to relax. Like, say something positive, you know, like, leave a positive mark. But a lot of that's rooted in jealousy, and that book's been written 100 times. I mean, it's just, a lot of it is just hate and jealousy.
Yeah.
Now, when you're out in Montana, and you mentioned you had the Gallotech, give everybody. I wanted you to give people a side of you that and say, what are your top 5 firearms you're jonesing on right now? What are you
jonesing on?
Yeah. What do you have or not have? That
my goodness.
I might have seen a Uzi in there.
Is it Mac 10?
Is it Mac 10?
Mac 10. All right. So one thing I'm not good with is I'm not good with names. So if you're gonna quiz me,
no, I'm
all
not
right. So
quizzing.
we'll stumble through this. Once again, I'm not a gun guy. I got a lot of guns, but I'm not. I wouldn't say
You're
I'm
a
gun guy.
collector. You got some.
I'm
pieces.
a collector.
Yeah, I know you're a collector.
And I'm also, like, very spur of the moment. So, like, if we were hanging out here and you're like, hey man, look at this, I'm like, oh, I want that.
Yeah.
But, like, I'm not gonna know the inner workings of it. So, oh my goodness. So I have once again stumble through this.
No,
so
go
help
ahead,
me.
I'll help
So I got my everyday carry is a Springfield 45. It's an XD something.
Okay.
All right. And then on the wall, my brother, I was recommended that I get a Glock 19. No,
19. You gotta have a 19.
19. Then I have the 300 Blackout, and that's like what's on my Gallotech wall. Fuck, in the basement, I don't know. I have a bunch of, like, 870s that for some reason keep ending up at my house.
They're just a good catch-all. You gotta
Yeah,
have
they're
an
just there.
870.
I have we used to go pig hunting, so I got 2 308 rifles. I got the Mac 10 randomly. I wanted to get that plasti dipped, or not plasti. Is that what it's called?
Cerakoted.
Cerakoted. No, but it was back in the day. I owned a plasti dip company for not plasti dip, something else,
Duracoat.
something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
I don't know. It wasn't. I invested in my friends, and I wanted to get it, like, florally printed to be extra gangster, but I never did. I don't know. Then I got a couple old Rugers that, like, were my growing up handguns. I have a custom 2 just AR-15s built, though. A local gun shop was like, we want to build your guns and put your name on them and stuff. Some of the short, we have a short AR platform. Dana has, like, this green thing with her name on it, but, like, the short AR platform with that shoots a 9mm.
Yep.
She has that, nice and cheap to shoot. I know there's more. I don't remember.
And
the same thing. If it looks cool at the time, I'll just buy it.
And you're a bit of a collector. I see the bikes. I see the cars.
I like to collect things. I get in, like, these moods where I'm like, ooh, I like 911s, and I'm buying houses right now is my thing that I'm doing.
That's smart.
So I close on a house today as soon as I get the email. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
At least they make me money back as rental properties.
Do they always, though?
So far, yeah.
So far.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I have a lot of friends that are big in a property. I'm not huge into it. I'm in the process of selling one right now. But I feel like with a lot of people, they love them until they get burned on one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I do it different. So I buy all the warehouses that I my business is run of. And then I have a separate real estate and leasing company that like I pay my rent to. And then all the other companies I own with other people, they pay rent too. I have an Airbnb. I have a farm I just bought, and then I'm closing on another Airbnb today. So the farm's going to Airbnb. So they'll all make money.
Do you see that, everybody? You have to have your hand in different things. Now, before we wrap, I want you, I know we kind of started with this, and I want you to give people insight into those that are trying to make it, whether it's in fitness and anything. Give them some insight, because you touched on a good point about having your hand in diversifying and having your hand in different things. Give people kind of like, whether it's your top 3, top 5 lessons that you've learned along the way that you see guys make the mistake that are either broke now in fitness or broke in different, because I know a lot of people come, because this is a thing people don't know about you, to put it into context. A lot of people seek guys out, like you and women like Dana and Jay for advice. Yeah. Because you guys have become like I'm gonna go see the Oracle. Like, you know what I mean?
And that's the thing, is I don't have advice for you. So I'll go by a Mark Bell quote. Once again, don't know if it's his quote, but it was in his caption the other day. It was like, a violent attack today is 100 times better than a well-prepared attack tomorrow, or something like that.
That's Patton.
Okay. So I read that, and that's something I like, because I think that one of the biggest things we have to fight is resistance. I read A War of Art.
Art of War.
No. The War of Art. Okay. It's about being an artist. You should check it out. But it just talks about resistance, and it talks about like when you wake up in the morning and that little voice that tells you stay in bed a little bit longer, that's resistance. And it identifies all the resistance in your life, right? And one of the things that I identified was like research and preparation a lot of times is just avoiding actually doing the fucking work, right?
I have that conversation with someone who, Derek, who's in Montana all the time, because he's always going to see gurus and he's always going to events. And Suresh is the same way at 221. Yeah. Suresh is the same way. I have the same conversation. I'm like, they're like, you don't go to any. I'm like, listen, all the knowledge you need now is on YouTube.
It's on, if you want to figure out how to do it. So I think my first thing is start. And I think that what you're going to do is you're going to learn a lot of stuff. So quick story. When we first launched, I don't know how to build websites. I didn't really know how to do photography, but I did it all. So Dana and I were the models, which I did that because I couldn't afford to pay people. Of course, and I didn't have attractive friends. So what that ended up doing by me doing it myself was that built a strong connection with us, with the brand. I didn't realize it was going to do that. That wasn't premeditated. The next thing I did was I built the website. So when we started to get popular, the website would crash. And everyone would be like, oh, I'm trying to get on the website. Everything's selling out and it's crashed. And I'm like, I was really upset and I was sorry. So I used to put up, streamed videos and being like, guys, I'm really sorry. It's literally me by myself here. Like, I don't know what the fuck's wrong with this website. Like, I'm sorry. So two things happened there by just doing it, by not thinking about doing it. People got to see that I was a real genuine person and I'm in a warehouse by myself, a shitty warehouse. And I'm like, I'm trying to figure it out. So like, oh man, it's so cool. Also, it built up the demand because the website was crashing. So I looked at it as the worst thing in the world, but it was actually the best thing in the world because it made it very, like Supreme's that brand now, or like when the new Jordans come out, like I was doing that. I didn't even realize it. But the only reason that happened is because I just started. I didn't wait until I found someone who could build a good website. So I think in just starting, you're going to learn a lot of things that like, if I asked you how to start a company, you're going to give me things that like, they're lessons that I need to learn along the way because I've learned so much to get here that like, I'm not just going to give you that playbook. You can follow that playbook and you'll get somewhere, but you're going to get hit by something that you should have learned fucking 4 years ago. And it's going to cripple you. You know what I mean? Like we all know little things right now that I learned on year 2 that now in year 10, I'll never make that mistake. And like, I'm not going to remember to tell you that because it doesn't, So I think start. I think just whatever you're going to do, start. Realize that like it might not work. It doesn't matter, but you're going to learn so much from that you're going to the next thing. The same thing is, I think always have respect for where you're at. I've talked to so many people that they're like, well, I'm in this stupid job right now. Or, dude, I've even talked to a lot of military guys that are like, I'm in the military and I just can't wait to get out of this so I can get my life started. And I think that a lot of people are like, I can't wait to finish this so I can start my life. And they don't realize like how much value is in sweeping the floors or mopping. Like you find somebody who like is really organized and mops really well, I will hire them, right? Because they're thorough, they complete tasks, they understand what they're doing, they pay attention to changing the water, like all those little micro things that add up to mopping the floors. That matters when you get to somewhere like where I'm at now. You know what I mean? And I think that people miss that. So I think they don't start. they're too scared to start. They're too scared to fuck up and not have it work, and not realizing like the journey and everything you're going to learn there. I think 2 is appreciate where you're at, what position you have. You know what I mean? Like, don't look at this, oh, this is just a stepping stone, I'm just looking to get through the days. 3 is, I think, be genuine. I think that's something that people a lot of times want to, they say, I want to be like this, and they just fake it till they make it. I think a lot of times when you like fake it till you make it, you're going to get caught with your pants down. You know, and I think that's a lot of guys like, you know, once again, I'm not saying that I know if Brad Castleberry uses fake weights or anything like that, but like, okay, a bent over row with 405 shot right, it is impressive, right? We can agree on that. We can probably both do that. We can probably both do 5 plates, but like when you do 7 plates, it's like, nah, man, you're not.
You've gone too far.
That's not real. Like, and I think that like, if someone like that, or if you're these big lifts, like people are impressed by bent over rowing 5 plates. They are, with the right caption. So just be genuine, be exactly who you are. And that also translates to personality too. Be who you are, because one day you're going to get caught with your pants down, or they're going to see you, like, people think I'm inspirational, I'm nice, blah, blah, blah. But like, I still have a little dickhead to me. But if I was like super happy all the time, like when you meet me off camera or you meet me in an expo or in the airport, and all of a sudden you're like, he is completely fucking different. That's going to get back to you. So I think being genuine is very, very important. There's my top 3, I think.
Yeah, no, and then the genuine thing, like, you know, and being real, I sum it up like this all the time. I always say, never be that guy. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, don't be that guy that shows up to a party where there's some guys drinking and having a, you know, maybe smoking a little weed, hanging out. Don't show up with the heroin. You ruin the party. Don't be that guy.
Don't be the heroin guy.
Don't be the guy who ruins it, because now you just ruined it. Now people want to leave. You know.
What are you saying? Don't be the next level, dude?
Don't be the guy who takes it to a level it doesn't need to go to. Like if you're gonna do that and die in the bathroom, you ruined it for everybody. You've ruined it.
You're fucking up property value.
And that's you know, not to pick on Brad, but that's kind of like what it is. It's like, don't be the guy who does that, because now you just ruined it.
Yeah.
So you know, I appreciate the shit out of having you on and,
thanks, man.
And having
I appreciate
you in. And
I'm glad it finally happened.
Yeah.
It's weird we couldn't make it happen in Montana.
We couldn't ever
when
make
we
it
lived
happen.
3 minutes away from each other.
People say all the time, they're like, did you hang out with Rob a lot? I'm like, I think we hung out twice. Like
Twice,
3
yeah.
times, you
Twice.
know?
Maybe
I'm
3
like,
times.
Maybe 3 times. I'm like, that might be a stretch, but you know, bro, I love picking your brain and just the shit you're into. I love it. Everything you're going on, you and Dana. I'll always be, you know, kind of watching you guys from afar. And,
Thanks, man.
and
I watch
seeing,
you too.
Yeah.
Not creepy, but just like a casual watch.
Yeah, of course. Tell everybody where they can find you, and give everybody the links, and you will pull them up.
You can find me on the internet. Kill Rob Bailey. Hey, there we go. So yeah, it's like a mixture of. Oh, look, I can. And at the top it says it. So I got a little real estate company, a bunch of Airbnbs we're coming out with, little dope cabins to stay in. Flag Nor Fail is the main brand. I have a personal website apparently, which is that. Flag Nor Fail is our apparel line, limited streetwear, sort of adventure gear, sort of this new, I don't know, it's always evolving, always getting better. You can find my wife at DanaLynnBailey.com. She does daily workouts. She's a badass. Let me think what else. Supplement line, RunEverythingLabs.com.
And I had Jessie Jess on.
Oh,
who
yeah.
She was wearing your cap. She does Run Everything Labs. And I said, oh,
yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
See, that's an example of athletes that like we do like having.
Yeah,
you know,
of course.
she's a really good example. I
train with her all the time.
We've been getting better at that. What else? Oh, I own a gym on the East Coast, Warhouse Gym. Dare I say the dopest gym in America, possibly in the world. Just maybe in a bad location.
It's in a rough location.
it's just middle of nowhere. So yeah. Also, Rob Bailey and the Hustle Standard. That's my music. I will be releasing another album with Hustle before the end of the year, and I am also coming out with my solo album, which is metalcore, which is I think just going to be entirely too heavy for everyone, and no one's going to like it. So,
hey, listen, I'm not for everyone.
I don't know that name though. I haven't. So help me out. Help me out. I don't have the name of my solo project band. Do I just say like, hey, Rob Bailey?
The Rob Bailey Project.
The Rob Bailey Project. I don't like it, man. Keep thinking.
I'm gonna have to work on that.
All right.
We'll get the team on that. Q, I think we hit everything. We're out.